Okay, obviously quick turnaround here. I get started. As far as injuries, with Justin, we're still gathering the facts on everything. He's still getting him looked at this morning, so we'll see where that goes. And obviously we got to be prepared for both sides of that, whether he's able to go or not able to go. And then with Duke Shelley, he has a hamstring, like I said, no change there. So we'll have that injury report out this afternoon. We have that quick turnaround. We've been, working obviously all night and morning on getting through everything, and then also getting ready for this game against Detroit. So with that, I'll go ahead and open it up to questions.
Do you have a better understanding for when it was that Justin suffered the injury?
No, and it's I think it was, I don't know if it was an exact play from talking to him. So that's what I don't even know if he knows that. I don't think he does from our discussion. I think it might have just been something that he started feeling, and then it was after that, when he got looked at. Yeah. Yeah.
What did he report as he was coming off that made you guys realize he was bothered?
Yeah, just saying that he felt like he was in a little bit of pain. So I looked at it too on tape, trying to find out and see if it was accumulation of something or if it was just one time.
Is it just ribs? Is it just ribs injury?
Yeah.
Do you know the severity as far as broken, bruised?
No, that's what we're looking at this morning.
Can you rule out that it's broken ribs?
I can't rule out anything. All I can say is we're waiting for to get feedback today, and then that's what we got to go off of.
As somebody who's played the position before, what's the challenge of being able to go out there with an injury there? Because I imagine that's...
Yeah, I think there's different levels to it, and then obviously it comes down to the doctors of what they say whenever they end up telling us, what it is, how it is, and then what the how you can or cannot play with that. And then the other thing too in this thing is that as you all know, Justin's extremely tough, so you got to be able to kind of manage that and protect him from himself sometimes.
How does his experience of, because he dealt with this in the playoffs last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does that play into this at all?
Well, again, that's part of the toughness part of it. He's been he's a tough guy, and so when you go through these different types of things, our trainer Andre has to be able to gauge where he's at. But I think this, with this being the ribs, like Patrick was just asking and saying, we just have to be able to evaluate, okay, pain and the simplicities of breathing, sleeping, like the little things we take for granted, to throwing a football, and where that's at. So just we got to just see where things are today and tomorrow, and then we got to make a decision off of that.
What's at least the initial diagnosis? I'm sure you as the head coach want to know what's going on with your quarterback, and you went and asked somebody, how's Justin's ribs, or what's the extent of this injury? And at least the initial conversation on that was what?
Yeah, yesterday was that he's in pain and that we're going to get it looked at. So that's what they're doing today, and now as we're going through last night all night and this morning all morning, going through the game plan on Detroit. Now as we get through today, we talk through all that. We get the results on where things are, and then we have to work through that.
That last play he was in, he kind of did a little pump fake and then he kept it. It was kind of hard to tell on TV copy. Should he have given that off to David Montgomery? Was he as open?
I think he was open, and he could have, but at the same time too, just he could have pumped it, and the linebacker went running to 32, and then it works and it looks great, and he runs for a first down. So, I think he was probably going off of instincts, and if he would have thrown it to 32, great, but he didn't, and he almost broke the tackle.
Short turnaround, is there any deadline where you want to make a decision on who's going to be starting Thursday? Like, do you want to make a decision Wednesday, or can you take this all the way up to Thursday morning?
No, what we do is we prepare for both. Game plan wise, you can only do so much in a short amount of time. So that's what we got to keep that in mind as we go, and our coaches will do a good job with that.
Where everything's at in the short turnaround, why is it important to get him out there Thursday as opposed to just saying, hey, let's let the kid heal, he'll be ready, in 2 weeks?
Well, it's I think where he's been at and the way he's growing, and just for him to get these reps. But at the same point in time, there is a safety issue too, with making sure that he doesn't get to a point where things get worse. So we got to monitor that. We got to keep an eye on that. And I think that regardless of everything, we always want to make sure that all of our players, we're not putting them at more risk. Regardless of who you are. Obviously, there's more magnitude to everybody else and to us with Justin and being the quarterback and touching the football every play. And throwing and that sort of thing. So we'll have to keep that in mind.
When, when Andy came in, he had immediately had the play action pass to Graham and then the screen pass to Mooney. It seems like the offense changes when he's come in. Are those plays that you wouldn't or couldn't run with Fields? And if they are they so
No.
immediately effective with Dalton as opposed to Fields?
No, Justin's hit a bunch of play actions out of Rhino personnel. You know, he's done a lot, 13 personnel. And that was the second play was an RPO. It wasn't a screen. So we have RPOs with Justin too. So all that stuff that we do is stuff that both those guys do. Some you know, conceptually he might like more or less, but you know, I think both of those guys have done a good job at really being able to continue to grow with that.
But in that game, it just seemed like Dalton, I mean, Fields was struggling. It wasn't really as successful. And as soon as Dalton came in, things kind of popped.
Well, again, when we hit that long play, here's the beauty of that play, the long touchdown to Mooney was the blocking by the tight ends. That was clinic blocking, and the thousands of times that we've run that play in this offense in the last 10 years, that's one of the best ones we've had because of the blocking. You know, so that's the execution was all the players.
You've seen the video and had a chance to talk to your coaches. What was the coverage breakdown on the long one to Watkins? On the
Yeah, that was. Are you talking about the one down to the 3 or the one right before that?
down to the 3?
Yeah, they were in a little bunch set, and we just had a communication breakdown with the man coverage that we were in.
Who was supposed to follow him? Was that Kindle?
I think most likely, but again, you know, we have our own little rules, and they have communication tools that they use within the bunch sets. So there's a little bit of details that go into that. So I don't want to. You can't just. It looks like it to all of us. Yeah, it's on Kindle, but they have their own set of rules and of communicating and who has what with the way that they defend a bunch set.
On the PI call on Kindle, what's the coaching point there? Because it seems like it's really, the ball, the pass is really covered pretty well with Bush at top.
Yeah, Bush was playing over the top. And again, like you gotta be able to trust where you're at and position for that throw. I mean, he put one up for us to be able to get, and so that's definitely one that we would want back.
Now, when you've lost 5 in a row and losing the way you did yesterday, how do you rally this group?
Yeah.
Heading into such a short week and a quick turnaround.
Yeah, it's been like that for the last several weeks. Is you look back at the last two weeks, and as you all know, because you guys are part of it, just too, is that Steelers game, you feel like the whole game you're trying to play catch up to get to a spot to where you take the lead, and you have the lead, and then they win it the way they did. Instead of 3-6, you would have been 4-5 heading into a bye, and then this game here, it's kind of no points at halftime. I think it was 5 possessions for their offense in the first half, 3 straight punts and 2 field goals. 6-0, come out, and then we get that touchdown with Andy and Mooney, and now you take the lead, and everyone can start feeling the momentum changing a little bit. That you feel it, and then you get to that point where it's you get to the point where it's 13-9, and you're kind of holding on, and then the defense had 2 short fields to hold on to, and they got the pick, and then they ended up we get to a point where that last drive where I think we had 11 drives in the game yesterday, and in the 11 drives, those last 2 drives where they got the field goal and then that touchdown, that's what you look at and what we remember. We gave up a lead, and so when you watch the tape and you see these guys on defense flying around, and Roquan Smith 17 tackles and 3.5 sacks by Robert, and Gibson playing great, and these guys flying around, you see all that, but then we all remember that last drive, and then and we lose. And they were playing so well the entire game. So, simple fact of the matter is that now we're 3-7 instead of 5-5. That's a big difference right now when you look at where these NFC teams are in this side of on this side. So, to long answer to your question, but we have to keep fighting because we know where we're at. That's the way these guys are wired. And that's what I appreciate about them.
Yeah. When you went back on some of the communication issues that you had on the sideline, in particular using the timeouts, were you satisfied with what you had there with your coaches in terms of communicating before a snap?
Yeah, I was fine with that. I don't like that the headset went out like that. I figure of all the times for a headset to go out, the dang thing goes out right there. But it is what it is. And again, I told you in regards to the play call that we had and what we wanted. I mean, we felt committed to that and felt good about it. They made a good play. So. that was that. There was, fortunately for us, I think we ended up getting a stop on defense, and it didn't hurt us there. I would have liked to seen us, when the defense was getting stops in that third and fourth quarter, get some more first downs on offense and chew up that clock and get down there and try to get that touchdown earlier.
Darnell Mooney mentioned that he had a disconnect with Fields at one point because the Ravens showed something that they hadn't even seen on film. Did that happen more often in that game?
No.
And is that perhaps one reason why Dalton was maybe more effective, just able to navigate?
No, they actually did what we thought they were going to do, especially towards the end of the game. I mean, you guys know Coach Wink is feast or famine with that, and so there was other parts of the game where I thought our coaches did a good job of being able to understand where they were at, and there's a route here or there where with both quarterbacks, with Mooney, based off of looks they give, but nothing. I mean, that's football. You know what I mean? There's nothing significant that was different that they gave us looks that are going to change up a simple concept that we run.
Matt, can you take one more?
Go ahead.
When you say if a couple things flipped, you guys would be 5-5, I don't think you'd be particularly happy being 5-5 either. There's no way that you expected this season to go the way that it has. How do you defend the work that you've done as you guys sit 3-7?
The only thing that I and we can do, right, is keep playing and keep coaching and keep doing everything we can to win. That's it. You know what I mean? So you're right. We always want to win every game, but we got to understand how we're getting calloused right now, and at the same point in time, you stick to your core values, which is just believing in one another and continuing to fight. That's all we can do, and that's what I know this team will do.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Yep.